We're finally going to finish up. We're finally going to finish up Two Tower.
Yes. I'll be on mute for most of the time because I'm helping my fiance, but I can still participate.
Cool.
All right. Now, keep in mind one thing that Doug Walker had said about the
He's wrong.
Okay, aside from the why am I looking at all of this imagery in the thumbnail again? Because
hello there,
like,
ladies and gentlemen.
Come on.
Welcome back to the Mehvies.
Okay, who's supposed to be at the top? Who's supposed to be at the top of the left tower?
There's nobody at the top of the left tower.
But there looks to be somebody on the top of that.
I don't think there's a person up there. Hang on.
Well, anyway. Hey, so Doug. So we're going to be getting into what Doug Walker considers to be one of the faults of the live-action version versus the animated version, which is essentially saying that the Battle of Helm's Deep had a lot of build-up in the live-action and little payoff, whereas
no, that's a ventilation shaft from the original picture.
Whereas the Ralph Bashki version had little payoff, but little build-up, but lots of payoff. All right, so are we all set and ready to go?
Yep. Getting started in 3, 2, 1.
So when we last left off, our heroes had to depart.
I believe that's true in Dwarf Fortress. You have to plant the dwarves rather than breeding them. Gimli just planted himself a bunch more dwarves when he fell off that horse.
Yep. Well, that's unfortunate.
Casual Cheeseburger asks, why aren't you guys watching Rebel Moon 3? Because we were... 1, that movie isn't out yet, and 2, we're scheduled to watch Lord of the Rings today.
Why were they asking about a movie that doesn't exist yet?
Yeah, no...
I mean, people already try to say that Netflix canceled it.
Yeah, no, it was like... We'll see Rebel Moon 3 once Zack Snyder's done with, like, the 5 or 6 other projects that he's working on.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, speaking of which, since I was watching the Birdman videos, he also took a hypocritical dig at Zack Snyder on Rebel Moon, saying why Marvel movies were superior and why Zack Snyder is just making sci-fi movies that nobody cares about. I'm like, I mean, if nobody cares about it, then why did you make... Then why did you reference that?
So I have to be perfectly frank here.
Your name's Alex, not Frank.
Let me be clear. I've watched all of the MCU films that have come out in however long.
And that was?
And, you know, none of them, aside from Spider-Man, Deadpool and Wolverine, Doctor Strange, and Thunderbolts, I wouldn't say that any of them have been as good as Rebel Moon. Much less... Are you that fucker who's been in the comments section talking about Rebel Moon? Why did the co-writer say it would take an act of God for him to work in that universe? I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant to the conversation of this fucking video here.
Okay, to that commenter, whenever we watch a Marvel movie or Rebel Moon, then you can make that comment,
Yeah,
and then we'll
like-
have a discussion about
Yeah,
it.
feel free to come back, and we'll have this conversation at a later date. But this is The Lord of the Rings.
Yep. This is Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Not the Twin Towers, contrary to what the poster might suggest. Enjoy your phone game, Ben. Ben is not even
Ben's
in this
not on this stream.
commentary.
Congratulations, you don't even know who we are. That's great.
I've been with these people since the beginning. Everyone knows that my icon is of Garfield Logan.
My icon hasn't changed in 15 years.
The only
Aside-
change in my
aside from the
icon
sunglasses.
is whatever updated fan art I want to use from that I commissioned from Ash.
Mhm.
I'll be right back.
Apparently there's somebody who's been working on translating the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy plus The Hobbit into Elvish.
I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Essentially,
What if
their who wants to live forever moment.
Yep. Who wants to live forever? Who wants to live forever?
So, something else. Speaking of which, people have, never mind, I'll bring that up later. When I haven't completely derailed my train of thought. That horse was a little bit jank. But you can't throw a giant creature at a horse in real life, so... And the thing is, they are doing their best to, not show a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
Unlike the giant CGI dog in Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
A warg. I hope they don't completely redesign the wargs in the next... in a prequel series. And make it look like some fucking dog.
Well, here's the thing, Alex. At the very least, Fenris looks accurate enough.
Yeah.
At the very least, he's not telling. At the very least, he's not telling her, or she can't fight.
Yeah.
Because she's a woman.
Like, somebody has to help them get to safety. Somebody has to go fight the orcs on the giant wolves.
We prefer the capable lady get everybody to safety.
And a father would prefer that his child not die in battle.
Well, niece, but yeah.
Well, niece, yes.
Of course, Legolas has to flex.
I remember for this sequence here.
Damn it, Gimli, you are way too charming.
Yeah, and in that scene, that was where I think in that scene was where Gimli's stunt double, or his scale double, dislocated his knee.
Yep. Oh, damn. Gimli it's just like, come here, you. Give me your neck.
This is why you never skip chess day, boys.
Bring it on, bitch. Oh, come on. Pile more things onto me, why don't ya? I have to wonder if they did this scene at all in the In the Ralph Bashki movie?
No, this was created for this movie here.
I'm guessing because they needed a reason why Aragorn had seemingly vanished.
I believe so, yes.
Was Aragorn's disappearance in the book? Because I have yet to read all of Two Towers.
I don't entirely remember. I think what happened in the book was he, like, rolled down a hill rather than falling off a cliff.
Bleh. I still find it very heartwarming how in later parts of Middle-earth lore, or Legolas and Gimli after Aragorn's passing, as they ended up visiting him. And I'm like, yeah. And it goes to show that no matter how old our non-human characters are, they're still bound by friendship.
It's like, I liken it to, the old idea that people had of Ringo Starr tending to the Beatles' graves. Everybody used to make fun of me. I used to be the ridiculous one. Well, look at me now.
And now they've finally made it to Helm's Deep,
where one of the greatest battles in the history of filmmaking will take place.
Yep. Aw, it's nice.
Oh, would you look at that? Food. They actually brought food with them. How did they bring food? I heard that you leave food behind in a siege situation. You don't need that.
Where did you hear such stupidity?
The Rings of Power.
You're making shit up again, Alex.
I must have taken a serious blow to the head at some point, because nobody would write something as monumentally dumb as that.
Yeah. He fell off a cliff and is now having a severe drug trip. Like, seriously, he took lots and lots of acid.
He thought that the best way to get his way back up the cliff was to eat all of the rocks. Unfortunately, all of the rocks are covered in lysergic acid.
But why would he do such a thing? with enough concussive force. No,
Do
dipshit.
not get your fire near. Excuse me.
You sure about that, Grima? You know, speaking of another Christopher Lee role, somebody ended up making a video where essentially Qui-Gon's Force Ghost had visited Count Dooku for one last conversation before or the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
Interesting.
They had quite a debate over the ethics of Count Dooku's decision, but then Qui-Gon had left him and believing that he was beyond hope. Well, that's a disturbing army.
That's such a nice gradient, too, where it
Yeah.
fades off into the distance as the light becomes less distinct, as the images
Aragorn.
grow blurrier and fainter. It's a composite, but it's a well-made composite.
Yep. Aragorn be like, have the drugs set in yet?
Have the drugs worn off yet? No,
Oh.
they're still going.
Yep. I am imagining myself having a wholesome, safe, sane, and consensual relationship with my beloved elf lady, played by Liv Tyler.
I hope nobody makes something really stupid out of that line. Oh, who am I fucking kidding? Of course they will.
Meanwhile, oh, never mind. I was having such a nice dream, too. Nay! Nay!
Get up, motherfucker!
Aragorn! Please, get up!
You can't just lay here. Come on.
Well, that was awfully nice of the horse.
The untamable horse came back and helped Aragorn get back to Helm's Deep.
Yep. Cookies need love, like everything does. Why do you say that? It's just an urge that I have. It's very strange. It makes me think. Think of a different time. Specifically a time where I was an AI.
Mr. Anderson. Somehow I was able to pass a CAPTCHA test better than your average person could.
Well, that's because you're a machine.
And yet they're supposed to keep robots out. Curious.
Very curious. I ponder if this is just part of Elrond's arc of wanting to have faith in men again, and but realizing too much of the negatives of that of mankind. Because it always seems like to me that he wants to have faith, but at the same time he can't help but only think of the bad things.
Yeah.
It's always quite heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he knows that she loves Aragorn, but he's not sure if she still loves him. And I'm like, people, there was really, really good material in the context of Fellowship and Two Towers, especially in Two Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Galadriel.
Galadriel, what are you doing? I'm doing my best not to think about that stupid prequel series.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where I helped Sauron make the rings.
Seriously, still thinking about that that Lord of the Rings Narnia a crossover fic. It's like I always have to ponder what kind of interactions Jadis and Saruman would have. Because I know Peter and Edmund and are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Jadis and Saruman are too similar, mostly because they're dastardly villains who love to hear themselves speak. And the power is shaped like a very sexy woman on fire.
I was gonna say, but what about the power of the power?
It's got the power of the creator and the power of the destroyer and the power of 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 the
power of love.
Okay, Galadriel. Okay, Galadriel, I will ask you this. Will you date me? Breathe if you say yes. Breathe if yes. Recite the entirety of the Bible in Japanese if no. She then proceeds to recite
Would you look at that? There's a giant tower with an eye on top of it. Fucking dragons flying through the air. Well, wyverns flying through the air. It's almost like they couldn't fly the eagles to Mordor.
Alex, don't you know Hishi thought of that by saying, "Oh, they'll just distract Sauron by mooning him." Okay. Hey, look. How
And
about instead?
these are the actual maps that Tolkien drew as well. They're
Yep,
beautiful.
they are. Okay.
Rings
Hey,
of Power
Alex.
doesn't know how big Middle Earth is.
No.
Just like Neil Druckmann doesn't know how big America is.
And here's the thing: Middle Earth is actually a lot bigger, or in terms of Lord of the Rings cosmology, than some people give it credit for. Mostly because of how absurd it is. Because if you consider Ea from the books, then yeah. I may look like a midget, but I'm no spy. Okay. Hey, Danny DeVito. But Danny DeVito is not a midget. Okay, Peter Dinklage. Okay, that's fair. For the record, Peter Dinklage was in a movie where he flat out referred to himself as a dwarf. It was a movie that had Steve Buscemi in it.
He was also in a movie called Death at a Funeral. And another movie called Death at a Funeral.
I mean, hell, he played a dwarf in Marvel.
He played a giant dwarf when all the other dwarves were normal-sized. Normal-sized for dwarves, I mean.
What do you know?
Sure.
Yes, I was, but then he tried to kill me. For some reason, he was gleefully listening to Breakfast at Tiffany's while untying a thick rope. And want to know something interesting about that fan fiction I've been telling you about?
Huh?
Even when Boromir survives, Denethor or is still all resentful towards Faramir and whatnot.
Well, yeah, that's how he
And
kind of
it's
always
just
was. I remember I saw...
and not even Boromir was able to help ease that.
Well, I remember I saw Denethor's actor turn to like 50-something, and not Denethor, Faramir. Faramir's actor turned 50-something, and they had just had a picture of Denethor saying Boromir would have been younger.
John
This
Noble is who played.
Yeah.
This scene is, I believe, is exclusive to the
extended edition,
version.
yes.
And we also
the
get
key scene that's in the next movie.
Yep. So Sean Bean got to actually act in this film. And John Noble actually got to be in a film before Return of the King in terms of these movies. And John Noble is actually a pretty decent voice for Scarecrow.
Okay.
Sadly, he was in Arkham Knight.
Oh dear.
but it can be better.
I don't want to picture Pedro Pascal playing a young Boromir. Even though I think he's older than Sean Bean was at this point.
Funnily enough, John Noble was also the voice of Brainiac in Superman Unbound, and he was the voice of Unicron in Transformers Prime. Yeah. Yeah, Denethor is just making excuses.
Yeah, this is where all of the memes... Like, Boromir would have done it better.
You, Boromir, are my number one guy. Then let him show it. Because I'm an idiot. I like to make every excuse in the book. Though, funnily enough, Alex, in that fanfic, after Boromir just has had enough with Denethor or just starts to outright dismiss him as well.
I believe it.
Oh, and when he has his breakdown, Edmund's the one who knocks him out. You got knocked the fuck out! Seriously, I gotta link you to that. It's actually pretty good. Found the third one. He was skulking about in a very creepy fashion. What do you want? I'm trying to sleep. Oh, come on. Can't I have 5 more minutes? No? Fine. Okay, what's down there that I should know about?
Oh dear, it's a horrible little creature.
What? Look, if you shoot Gollum, you would solve a lot of problems. Seriously, you shoot Gollum in the head.
I'm going to shoot him so that he'll stop singing.
God damn it, Frodo. all you had to do was let them kill him, and that way you would not have to make numerous retarded decisions later down the line. Sorry, I love Return of the King, but come on. Even you have to admit a lot of the decisions Frodo makes in that film are stupid.
True, but he is being heavily influenced by the ring at that point.
Heavily influenced by the ring and Gollum?
Yes.
Yes, otherwise people are going to shoot you.
Duh.
Seriously, all Frodo had to say was just, look, people are trying to kill you, so I'm trying to save you.
Come with me if you want to leave, Smeagol.
Yeah, I find it funny how
take him away.
To where?
Take the creature to Isengard. Throw him into Saruman's house. He'll be his problem now.
Why?
I wish to annoy the old wizard to death.
And how do you know he won't just kill him?
I don't care if he kills him. The ghost of Smeagol will
Gollum's back. Yeah, so when Gollum comes back, now how Smeagol is
Gollum won the argument.
thoroughly convinced. You know, one thing that precious. One thing that Doug Walker did say about some of the supporting cast in terms of the villains, he said that the live action films won out mostly because of Saruman and Gollum. Okay, how about this, Alex? Well, I'll meet you halfway in terms of this idea, okay? Are you willing to hear me out?
Yeah.
Okay. I will watch the animated Ralph Bashki film on the same way we did in the Doug Walker's review of fuck, what was it? Alone in the Dark. I will do that. And then we will watch his old versus new on that and his top 11 dumbest things in Lord of the Rings.
All right. Hey, yeah. We'll get that all set up, and then we'll do the Lord of the Rings again.
No, as in I'll just watch the animated movie to help provide context.
Well, yeah, but we're watching that anyways.
I never said.
And The Hobbit and Return of the King.
No, I refuse to watch those.
Okay. Gonna watch one, you might as well watch them all.
No.
See, that's a time when chromatic aberration is actually useful. But you
Yeah,
don't put it in the entire fucking movie.
And what is this in reference to?
probably too many. There's a lot of things where they just have random chromatic aberration throughout. It's usually because they fucked up the negative. And it's difficult to fix. And then people are like, oh, it's an aesthetic. No, it's not an aesthetic. It's broken. Interesting how the king returns twice in Lord of the Rings.
Yep. I'm just gonna post this Batman image in live stream commentary text chat and let you and Bender decide what your thoughts are on the suit.
I don't like this. Change it. Right the fuck now. I don't care who drew this.
What don't you like about it, Alex?
It looks terrible.
What don't you like about it?
It's neon blue, almost. No, that's pretty much it.
I'm surprised you aren't commenting on the fact that that Batman looks like he has quite
wearing a
the
fucking
erection.
cod piece. Yeah, it's like that would be less obvious if it was black and gray.
No. It looks.
Bender says I have no comments. Yeah.
No. It looks like Batman is sporting quite the erection, and he is trying so hard to hide the pain.
I had a conversation like that with a friend of mine once. He was working like 80 hours a week, and he showed up with two black eyes, looking like he hadn't gotten a wink of sleep in a week.
Yeah.
And he's been doing a lot better since then. I think that comment and that look of shock on my face helped him a little. Not that you should just say stuff like that to people.
Well, that sucks.
Let them fight.
My lord, Stormtrooper.
My lord.
Stormtrooper.
My lord.
Stormtrooper. I find it interesting how Doug Walker never addresses the fact that at these that there are Uruk-hai and orcs.
Yes.
One of the things he also points out is how often the characters seem to jump right into a pit of mooks. Almost as though they're going, mosh pit!
They're not just going to kill the men, they're going to kill the women too, and the children.
So what, they brought Anakin Skywalker with them?
No, you did not kill his mother.
Oh, that's a relief. And we're good.
Is Ian McDiarmid around here? Perhaps we could arrange for you to kill him.
Why?
So that we can't have another Star Wars sequel.
You say that now. Look. We're never alone. And we can handle this. Of trees? Oh, and in case... Oh, and one thing to know, Alex, is that in the context of that fic, Susan tells off Theoden to join it, and when he tries to tell her not to join in for the Battle of Helm's Deep.
I like the designs of the Ents.
Yeah, they look great.
And now, like any government meeting, it's going to take forever and hardly anything will be accomplished.
That's sadly the most sensible comparison.
The gander Joan of Arc over here.
Yep. Although, funnily enough, the Nasuverse would have their own variant of Joan of Arc. It would just take forever for her to get into an animated adaptation of a storyline. She appeared in Fate Apocrypha. Where she is voiced by one of the more sane Ericas. Erica Harlicker. What else can you see with your elf eyes? Oh, Griffith has beaten that with just like five has beaten worse odds with 5,000 dudes. Seriously, Alex, keep in mind.
What the fuck you die? Nobody said anything about die.
Alex.
Yes. Yeah.
The Band of the Hawk had 5,000 men.
Yeah.
And they were up against way worse odds than our guys here. They were up against like 30,000. But then again, Griffith is a master planner and a manipulative bastard.
He's got the master plan, but he's not the Eggman.
I can only imagine what Golden Age Arc era versions of Guts, Griffith, and Costco would react to this world. Although Griffith would find a way to manipulate things. Because of course he would. I know, I sound like I'm setting up Griffith for potential failure, but here's the thing. That man was crazy, and I do stress crazy prepared. If you don't believe me, read the manga. The movie, he only covers a handful of his manipulations. What? And literally nothing has been accomplished.
Yeah, average city council meeting.
Yep. It's night!
And when the new day dawns, we will have to start over. If you keep interrupting us.
What are you, sloths at the DMV?
Yeah.
I love how I could just throw in that Zootopia joke in there. How did you feel about that bit from Zootopia, Alex?
That was great. That the funny thing was, I've been to the DMV 3 times. Got a state ID when I was 15, got a learner's permit when I was either 17 or 18, and I got my, I think it was younger than that. I can't fucking remember anymore because it's been too long ago. And then I got my driver's license a year or so after that. Could do with a shopping, maybe a bit of a polish, but it's not gonna fucking kill you. It's gonna kill your enemies, so stand up to all the pressure that'll come under.
Yep, gotta put on all that chainmail.
Stick 'em with the pointy end. Remember, if you're facing orcs, stab, twist, gut. But
how is that going to help?
Mr. Aragorn, that's... Won't that kill most creatures? Yes, it will.
Aww. It's alright, Legolas. Come in here.
We're
Come in and give
all-
me a hug, you son of a bitch. I'll say.
I guess you'll be wearing your battle skirt.
Yep. Because guess who Elrond called in? Elrond called the cavalry.
Well, they're not literally the cavalry, but yes. Cavalry would be on horseback. Original edition for the movies, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a original edition, but it actually helps with the odds. This charming fellow is Haldir,
Yes.
who I believe was in...
looks as though he was played by Adam Sandler. Thankfully, no such case.
Who was played by Craig Parker. And now that the odds are a bit more... Now that the odds have evened out just a small bit...
Oh, we are
All of you are cleaning toilets.
left, right, left.
Oh, Gimli. But yeah, Doug also said that at the animated version of Helm's Deep is in all red, and whereas the live-action version is mostly a darkened shade of blue, but
Yeah,
for obvious reasons. Because
yeah, I was gonna say more realistic for night. Definitely easier to see.
Meanwhile, the iconic Battle for Doldry, which I feel was inspired by this, because come on,
Oh yeah.
on how can we not think of medieval warfare and not think of the Battle for Helm's Deep?
Did I make that comparison while we were watching it?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch our commentary for Battle of Doldry.
I'd hope so, but I don't remember.
But yeah, the thing is, in the film version of Battle for Doldry, that went on from early morning to late afternoon. Like, they were in that battle for the long haul. Because some people don't realize it, but battles take a while. Especially in warfare.
Oh yeah. A lot of battles do. People are like, oh, this thing took a week? No, it took 2. And it was like, I thought it took a day. It was like, no. And then movies take battles that took about a month and condense them into one montage. And it's like, oh, okay.
Well, it makes sense. Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box? Ow, my foot! 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 Foot! Why are we doing this? Keep going! Why? It's Uruk-hai law that we must stab our toes!
First blood.
One of the archers killed one of the orcs by accident. Granted, it is much like firing an arrow at a broadside of a barn out there.
Another one of the memes. I mean, come on, who expected that to become a meme?
Hardly anyone, I'll bet you.
I mean, most people... I find it funny how Doug Walker seems to think that that the elves are supposedly infallible when it comes to their marksmanship and their and how they conduct themselves in battle.
Would you look at that? They put the ranged.
Look at that.
They put the ranged fighters behind the wall.
See, if they were really going to commit to this whole siege thing, they would have brought siege towers. And here's the thing, and what Shooter ended up getting right with their defense of Doldry was the fact that it was a huge castle. Oh, not just this wall. And with the wall, they had mounted defense. Wilhelm!
Yeah.
They had mounted defense.
The Wilhelm clan reaches far and wide.
Yep. Ah!
Attack from below!
They're in the middle of a dick measuring contest while Gimli takes a shot at the dick.
18, 19. Yeah, so in this sequence, John Rhys Davies just said,
"Alright, so you're gonna come charging at me, and then when I hit you, the other guy comes charging at me, and then when I hit him, you come back, and then when I hit you, the next guy comes charging,"
and that was how they choreographed that fight scene.
Oh, that had to be something.
And John Rhys Davies is waving this giant axe at the stuntmen, and they're like having to jump out of the way. About what?
Alex,
about coffee?
Alex, the YouTube broadcast stopped 47 minutes in.
Yeah, I had to restart that. I'm just gonna re-upload once we get done.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been streaming again.
Dipshits,
for another
that's
12 minutes.
What we're...
Yeah, no
that's
fucking
not
shit.
What we want. Oh, I'll show you, Hasty.
I like how Mary is just looking and is like, can you fucking believe this?
19, 20. Meanwhile,
Mary and Pippin need to go get some cocaine and give it to the trees. Or would they be against that because cocaine comes from a plant?
They've done drugs before.
Don't say that. You're gonna jinx it.
Oh dear.
They look like sea mines.
Here comes the Olympic. Here comes the Olympics. I love this bit. Like, Legolas is aiming for all of the vital spots that would inconvenience him. But that guy is too much of a fucking unit. Look at that! Hats off to you, Mr. Urkai man. Hats off to you.
Blown up, sir.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to build a new wall and make the Urkai pay for it. Battering ram. Ow! Mosh pit!
A dwarf just jumps into the fray.
Off with the heads.
Shield surfing.
Totally gnarly, dude.
Motherfucker, it started... This war is starting to become yours.
War is upon you whether you would have it or not.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Now Pippin's realizing the stakes. So, funnily enough, unlike, oh, I'll wait till later.
Get me back there. I wasn't done with them yet. I gotta get my kill count back up.
So, funnily enough, in the fanfic that I mentioned, and Haldir actually manages to survive this, thanks to Edmund.
Okay.
He dies later.
Huh.
And Rifttrack's like, wait, what was I supposed to be doing just now? Oh, right. Dying.
Yeah. Excuse me?
Hot damn! There we go again! Oh, that's gotta be painful.
Jesus Christ.
Ooh. We're just gonna casually sneak around.
Gotta get that fastball special in.
Once again, mosh pit. Yeah, Doug calls this part absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's fucking amazing.
Oh dear. Oh boy.
Siege ladders.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, God.
Ouch.
The most vicious Irish whip I've ever seen.
Yep.
This must have taken so much coordination.
Yep. Oh, Pippin's got an idea.
Ooh.
Your bizarre hobbit logic is adding up.
I've got the plan. Meanwhile, and night is slowly turning into day. I'm begging you. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now you got a reason. Ricola. Yeah, because now they got beef.
That scream meant more than an entire afternoon's worth of arguing could.
Yep. "20 years later, they could never replicate something like this."
No, I don't think they would even try.
Not
Just throw a bunch of crap at the wall and say, "There you go. That's good enough. You gotta deal with it. And if you complain about our bad visual effects, we'll call you mean names on the internet."
You know, funnily enough, in the most recent chapter of Berserk that came out, Guts was led right out of the Kushan city, Kushan Empire, just because he was just because the brand he bore or was a lure for demons. What? I didn't hear you. Could you speak up? I can't hear you. What? Oh dear. They're here. Yep.
Yeah, can do.
Meanwhile,
There's another meme.
yep. Yep. And we know what that means. And it's been 5 days. You all right there?
Yeah.
Yes! Ricola. When did they get on the horses?
That's a good question. Perhaps the 25th anniversary edition that Peter Jackson promised will answer that question. This movie has the question, where do they get on the horses? The next movie will have the question, when do they get off the horses?
Sup, bitches? I'm Gandalf. Gandalf had brought a scourge.
The Riders of Rohirrim.
And now the literal cavalry has arrived. Oh! Oh! It's blinding!
And they level the spears, and Gandalf's blinding light means that the first layer shivers and falls away. Bowling for orcs.
Yep. What is going on out there? Oh, dear Lord, nature is getting on my case.
Orc bowling would later go on to be a bad Nintendo DS game and then adapted into a really bad animated movie. Surprisingly, still better than elf bowling.
Oh dear. Saruman can't believe it. He just can't believe how destroying living trees would have actual consequences.
Damn it, nature. You're scary.
Damn, that motherfucker hauling ass. As you see that shit? You don't have to tell us twice. Oh!
Yeah, the guy who's on fire runs headfirst into the water. That's so cool.
And funny, too.
Yeah. Look at that. The miniature work, the stunt work, it's beautiful.
It is.
And so we find the best laid plans of mice and Saruman fall.
Meanwhile, Hey, how's it going? I hear you got what we want.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want, and I'll show you what you want, what you really, really want. I really want to give me that ring.
Oh.
Boom!
I know. That's why I'm pointing this sword at you. I'm about to stab you in the face. Seriously, go and look up some of the riff tracks for the theatrical version of this movie. It's really funny.
Okay.
They did all the theatrical cuts of the Peter Jackson trilogy.
That's lame. They should have done extended edition.
Yeah, but then they'd have to split it into multiple parts.
Okay.
They tried to, but there was a rock blocking their path, so they had no choice but to keep going forward.
It was a big rock.
Yes, a very, very big rock thrown by a giant humanoid reptile. Denethor hates me anyway, so...
Okay. So what's changed?
Run away! Run away into that forest that conspicuously appeared out of nowhere! They're all about to die brutal deaths.
Yeah.
Ah! Whoa! Whoa! Oh! You want to know what happened to one of them?
Got turned into plant food? Eaten by a giant Venus flytrap?
No. He got turned into mush, and then he was eaten by his fellow orcs, while another one was forced to watch. And you want to know how that one responded?
Trying to run away?
No. They're saying they're eating him, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my god!
He's got an axe in his nervous system. It's one of my favorite lines. He just starts using the axe like it's a joystick.
What are you doing? Just knowing the natural order of things is restored.
There's apples. Bell peppers.
A whole chicken.
No, that's a turkey.
A whole turkey, whatever.
Giant wet roast turkey.
And all this food.
The spoils of war. Do you think Treebeard would know or care? Yeah.
What's going on in there? Oh, nothing.
I do believe the hobbits are doing what the children call toking up.
Oh no, we're just getting high off our rocker.
Yes, that's it. That's what I said with more words. Faramir's such a great character.
Yes, he is.
He's one of those characters who could lead an entire series by himself.
But they don't.
I like how some of these movies have entire casts full of characters who could be the lead. Because these days you have a lot of movies and TV shows with entire casts of characters who would barely even be background characters.
Ooh. Riff tracks be like, in other words, Hail Sauron. They have so little faith in these two.
How Mount Doomed are we? You're crawling in the opposite direction. No matter what you want, you're doing the wrong thing. It's all one continuous shot.
Yep.
Her.
Yeah.
Well, by her, what do you mean? Are you?
Once they're cadaverific.
No. For all we know, we could be talking about the giant spider or the big-tittied witch who turns into the giant spider in the video games.
Shelob.
I remember when I first found out about that, I kind of turned my head and I was like, what? I definitely got the idea that Shelob had some kind of master plan when she was chasing them through the caves in Return of the King. Not to say that the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games aren't good, it's just from a story perspective.
Another film down. Only one more to go.
Yep.
This is just as good, if not better, than the previous one. Go fuck yourself, Harvey Weinstein.
Bob, Harvey, get your hands off the credits. You guys tried to make
9.5
this
out
into...
of 10.
Oh, yeah. I remember Quentin Tarantino told a story about how Harvey Weinstein tried to get a bunch of stuff cut out of Pulp Fiction so that he could sell it to a sell it to a wider audience. Maybe make it a PG. Maybe make it a PG-13, right? And Quentin had to argue back and forth, and eventually they relented. And then when the film came out and it did really well, they came to him and said, "Now always remember, Miramax did this for you." And he was like, "Really? Really? Really?"
Well, I shall be heading out, but this was still a good watch party.
Yeah. Happy to have you, man.
Thank you. Was happy to be here. And what's on tap for tomorrow?
Tomorrow
Tomorrow
back to
is
Invincible.
Invincible
okay.
Season 2.
Okay. Yay.
And then we'll be back to streaming stuff on Monday.
Yes.
I get to play a really bad game now.
Oh, God,
It's
no.
okay. It's okay, Alex. It's okay. After you finish that game, you could always us play something that's really good.
I'm gonna play
like
I'm gonna get back to like Chrono Trigger or Deltarune or some shit.
Or hell, you could play a good Naughty Dog game like Smash Brandy's Cooch. I mean, Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, right. I have to get to the DLC of The Last of Us. That's probably not going to take me very long, though.
It's not. It's not a long campaign.
Yes. Then I get to have the full pleasure of playing The Last of Us Part 2 tomorrow.
I can at least speak from experience, Alex. And plus, here's another thing.
Uh-huh.
I looked at my gameplay of that last part, or in Last of Us Part 1, and
Uh-huh.
I ended up doing the stealthy approach.